It has also to be borne in mind at the stage that the securing of the earth in the 7 skies in 2 days also includes the transformation of the skies from their earlier smoky state to the present one, as another statement makes an explicit assertion that the earths were disseminated only after the erection of the skies. Statement number 5. Are you more difficult to create? Are the skies that he built? He raised their roofs high, proportioned them, darkened their nights, brightened their days, and after that did he spread the earth out. Chapter number 79, verse numbers 27 to 30. Amid the creation of the skies and the spreading out of the earth, the passage, darkened their nights, brightened their days, bears another significant testimony for us. Accordingly, the creation of the nights and the days of the skies is in reality indicative of the creation of the suns in them, as without the latter, the occurrence of the former just cannot be possible. Hence, creation of the suns prior to that of the earth too is quite obviously established. As such, the present verses are meant to elucidate and remove the apparent ambiguities contained in a previous statement and to strengthen and augment our contention there. The following verses too reinforce this fact even further. Statement number 6. The Almighty is He who has created 7 skies and likewise the earth. His command descends among them, that is the earth, in order that you may know that He is capable of everything and that He encompasses everything knowledgeably. Chapter number 65, verse number 12. It is this verse that forms the historical basis for the many exegetes of the Qur'an to confine the multiplicity of the earth to 7. According to them, a similarity is being drawn here between the earth and the skies with the number 7. Had that been the case, however, a statement could have been made in a straightforward way that the Almighty has created 7 skies and 7 earths, and there wouldn't have been any necessity for generating the present ambiguity. In reality, however, here too the same caution and foresight are unmistakably at work, which we are witnessing continuously with regard to the actual number of earths contained in all the 7 skies. Thus, a careful consideration of the Quranic usage of the word skies on other occasions reveals that just as all the 7 skies and other heavenly bodies present in them are referred to with the phrase the skies and the earth and all that exists in between, the same sense is also conveyed with the mere skies too. Respective usage instances of both these usages are as follows. Statement number 6.1. He created the skies and the earth and all that exists in between in 6 days and then ascended the throne. Chapter number 25, verse number 59. Statement number 6.2. Your Lord is the Almighty who created the skies and the earth in 6 days and then ascended the throne. Chapter number 7, verse number 54. In both of these mutually comparable verses, the sixth-day creation account discloses that a mention is being made in each of them concerning the creation of virtually all the natural phenomena in existence. Thus, if a broad classification of these phenomena is made, then it would consist of three broad elements: seven skies, all the earths, and all the remaining heavenly bodies. The first of these verses just corresponds to this categorization, whereas the same meaning is being conveyed in the second verse with a mere mention of the skies and the earths, and the third element has completely been omitted deliberately. Hence, it could rightly be inferred from it that skies is a comprehensive Quranic term that simply incorporates all the seven of them and all the stars and the other heavenly bodies present in them as well, and which is occasionally emphasized with the word, with the number 7, or with the phrase, the skies and the earth and all that exists in between. Likewise, its usage in the verse quoted in statement number 4.2 above is another example, where all the heavenly bodies mutually bound together under the universal law of gravitation too have plainly been referred to as the skies. Moreover, apart from these arguments, for the term sky to connote all the bodies it consists of is a self-evident truth too. To mean the citizens with a mere mention of their respective countries of domicile is in practice in general. From the statements of India is a multi-religious country or UK is a developed state, it is always meant that the religiosity or the development exists in their respective citizens and not in those countries per se. Accordingly, the statement, "The Almighty is He who has created seven skies and likewise the earth," denotes that in the same way as the seven skies together with the other heavenly bodies, and particularly the innumerable suns inhabiting them, were created, earths too have been given similar abundant existence. Thus, if a correlation was established between the earth and the suns in all the seven skies in the statement number 4 above, a similarity between them is also being drawn here in terms of their absolute numbers, reinforcing the contention that this latter statement is basically meant to refine and further define the former. In this manner, the actual comparison being made here in the phrase "and likewise the earths" is between the earth and the seven skies, rather than merely the number 7. As stated earlier, science is in the process of gathering considerable evidence upon the existence of many more invisible universes similar to the present visible one as well. As a result, the concept of multiverse has begun to gain ground today. However, as could be gathered from our present discussion, the Qur'an has already accorded a definite shape to this concept by unequivocally revealing their actual composition and their absolute number as well. All the heavenly bodies discovered so far by the modern astronomy are contained in just the nearest or the very first sky according to the Qur'an. The remaining 6 skies too carry galaxies, suns, moons and earths in them and are invisible to us because all of them are placed one above the other. This quite clearly suggests that each one of them is a separate universe in itself. Modern astronomy too considers them to be beyond the pale of our observation and thus concealed from us. Furthermore, another significant reality bearing itself in the light of the present discussion is that the term earth has generally been used in the Qur'an in its generic form, which is sometimes provided emphasis with jami, or a pronoun in its plural form is used to indicate it. It could, however, be contended here that the word skies in its singularity is a comprehensive term to include all the earth as well, as our own earth too bears the same status in relation to the other earth. Even though such instances too are commonly found, but it would be reflective of merely a partial reality of the Quran, as on many other occasions the plurality of the earth is sought with its mere mention in its singular form. Many of the instances referred previously do fall under this realm, and still more shall follow in due course. So, unless it specifically refers to just our own, earth shall always be regarded in its generic form. Nevertheless, if it accompanies sky or skies or is used in their context, then it shall always be considered to be conforming to the same usage. On quite a few occasions, however, the phrase, the skies and the earth and all that exists in between too, has been used just to lay additional emphasis upon their plurality. These are some of the verses conveying the plurality of the earth in direct and real expressions. There are many more that dwell upon the subject indirectly and figuratively still. They shall be dealt with in due course. It could reasonably be concluded from this discussion thus that the Quran always resorts to such vocabulary and expression in relation to describing the multiplicity of the earth that if on the one hand their true number remains obscure to the predecessors, on the other, when man is well set on the threshold of figuring that great reality out through his own instincts and in the light of its own knowledge, it should reveal itself to him extremely emphatically. The Quran declares the basic objective behind such a methodical and long-term approach in very clear terms as follows. Statement number 7. Soon shall we reveal to them our signs in the environs of the earth and the skies, and in their own lives, until it becomes manifest to them that this is the truth. Isn't it enough for your Lord to be witness for everything? Chapter number 41, verse number 53. Both according to the lexicon and the narration, the original Arabic word afaq used here denotes the environs of the earth and the skies. Thus, it is clearly evident from this verse that those are the signs of providence contained in the environs of the earth and the skies and kept concealed from the predecessors just to be revealed to man at a later date are nothing but this very massive universe, and particularly its countless earths themselves being disclosed in an amazing idiom to us currently. So, the Quran itself has provided an extremely significant authentication to this humble speaker in aid of his present endeavor. And the phrase, until it becomes manifest to them that this is the truth, explains the rationale behind it, that this carefully crafted strategy of the concealment of the true expanse of the natural world and its delayed disclosure to man in the light of his own knowledge was resorted to in order to establish and demonstrate before him the marvelous and truthful nature of the Qur'an. This is the reason why it is again being asked if it wasn't enough for the Almighty to be witness over everything, indicating that all the natural phenomena fall quite within the divine knowledge and thus finding a mention in this amazing book. And it is why it has been undertaken at another occasion to reveal these signs later on, asserting that they would be so clear or so complete in harmony with the knowledge of man that he would clearly discern them. Statement number 7.1. Say, praise belongs to the Almighty alone. Soon shall he reveal to you his signs, and you would certainly recognize them. Chapter number 27, verse number 93.